rookie, it's hard enough as it is, but we're going to try to win. We just want to be consistent. We don't want to take any goofy chances, and I think a win will come to us.
I've been around racing long enough to know that when you've got 25, 30, 35 cars in a series competing, and especially when they put a little money up there, you get some darn good racers. Maybe guys you've never heard from, but I mean, they're darn good racers.
This series is just doing it for me. There's no pit stops. It's just driving. You know, you're door to door. It's the driver against the next driver. You know, you're racing clean, and the best guy will win on that day.
I'm hoping we're racing for second or third here. I'm not sure that we can race for first, but if we get the chance, we'll sure be there.
The heat and humidity of summer have hit with a vengeance here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and we are here for round 3 of the Speedvision GT Championship. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer, along with Dorsey Schrader. And Dorsey, Bobby Archer has a shot at breaking Almo Capelli's record in 1996 of 2 wins to start the season. We're at the Mid-Ohio track. Generally, that's always been more handling, and that sounds to me like Acura NSX and Porsche.
Well, you're right about that, Greg. You know, Mid-Ohio has a long straightaway, but it's got a lot more quick corners. NSX, perfect territory here at Mid-Ohio. But you said it first, the Porsche's always done well here.
Porsche's historically very strong here. That seems to be following form. In the pits this weekend, as usual, will be Calvin Fish and John Bizignano. Very interesting front row. Calvin's got that story. Cal?
Peter Kitchak starts from the front row for the second race in a row, this time from the pole position in the Porsche. But it's been a long week for his crew. He had gearbox problems at Lime Rock. They worked 3 all-nighters to prepare the car for today's event. But problems for the other front row sitter as well, Bill Cooper. He's had engine problems all week. Prior to qualifying, only 2 practice laps, but that didn't stop Bill from putting the car on the front row. Bill, not much practice time. How's the car set up for today's event?
Well, I think we're pretty good. The Les Stanford Chevrolet, boy, we've had a difficult weekend with all the problems we've had. As you mentioned, we've only done a couple of laps. I haven't been here in about 4 years, but it seems like the track came back. But with all the guys at Les Stanford helping us, and Butronics, Napa, and Anchor Bay Packing, we've had everybody come out of the woodwork to come down here and help us, and I think we got a good chance of doing well.
They really do. I think Bill can take it to the front today. And joining me in pit lane today is John Bizignano, and he has another story.
George Biskup loves Mid-Ohio Raceway. He's a very technical driver. Now, he had some practice time, but only 1 lap of qualifying, and he was still able to put his Porsche in 5th position. Then he went rushing off the track, did some damage to the right side. He hopes that there is still time left in the car and him. Watch him for coming through the grid. Now, someone who had no practice time whatsoever, a car that was heavily damaged in Lime Rock, is Rick DiOrio. He is ready to go racing. He only had a few laps in qualifying, and he put this car in 8th position. Both these drivers feel that they deserve a much better track position for the start. They know they can go towards the front.
Thanks, Biz. And, you know, one of the things that's been so enjoyable about our coverage so far of the Speedvision GT Championship has been Derek Bell's call from the Legends of Motorsports car. Let's check in with Derek.
This week, we're not in the M3 as we were for the previous 2 races, but we're running the M Coupe. It has a 2.8-liter engine, and it's supercharged. So that's a new experience for me. I've never raced a supercharged car before. Unfortunately, the car is a tad overweight for racing. We've got a lot of work to make it work to get it down to weight. We had 2 half-hour sessions in practice, which isn't really enough to sort a new car out. So I'm not quite as far up the grid as I'd like to be. We're 10th on the grid. I'd like to have been a lot further up. But then, you know, beggars can't be choosers. We're going to do our best and just see how the race pans out. The other dilemma we do have is that we are not carrying enough fuel. The tank is not quite big enough, and I'm about a gallon short on what I should be. So maybe I won't see the checkered flag after all. Anyway, we're going to try and conserve fuel as much as we can. I'm not going to start it to the last possible minute, and I'll just be trying to conserve everything all the way.
Thanks, Derek. We look forward to hearing from you. And, of course, when we come back, we'll bring you the starting grid, as well as a look at some of the great onboard cameras that this championship has been providing all season. We'll be right back. Welcome back once again to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the Speedvision GT Championship, and you can see the cars have taken off on their pace and parade laps. absolutely remarkable track here, certainly, and it's got a lot of unique corners, but it also has a very different unique element, and it's where they start the cars, and there's a very specific reason for that, isn't there, Derek Bell?
The start is not on the pit straight. The start will in fact be here on the back straightaway, which I've never experienced before, so I hope I do it all right. But the reason for that is that they don't want chaos at the first corner, because in fact, half the cars, as they start over the start-finish line, would in fact get the green flag, and the other guys will still be coming round turn 12 and 13. So they decided to put it out the back, so at least everybody's in a straight line.
Thanks, Derek, and let's go right to our BMW starting grid. As you can see, Peter Kitchak on pole inside row 1 with a great effort. Bill Cooper alongside. Then it's Dave Shart and Halsmer. Next to them, it's Biskup and Cox. Then it is Bobby Archer, a bit of a surprise that far back, and DiOrio in the Mustang. Then in row 5, it's Scotty White and Derek Bell in the new BMW M Coupe. Row 6 will be Stabler and Brown. Row 7 is going to be Peterson and Farmer and Dorsey. As we take a look at the rest of the field, that start, it really is a wise move to have it that far down in that back straight, isn't it?
Well, they used to do it in turn 1, and they used to end a lot of races right in turn 1, too, so that wasn't what they wanted to do. It gives you a little bit longer time to get strung out before you get into the first turn. That keeps the wrecking down at the start anyway.
Well, you're getting a good look there in the background at Bobby Archer. What a remarkable start to the season he's had. Calvin?
The winner of the first 2 rounds, Bobby Archer, qualified 7th here. Very poor qualifying position for Bobby, but after qualifying, they were looking at the tire temps. They looked at the right rear, and they saw some real indiscrepancies in what they should be seeing. They took the shocks off the car. Fortunately, the Coney truck was here. They had a dead right rear shock, so look for Bobby Archer to move up in the early going.
Well, Bobby Archer has certainly shown an ability to get the job done throughout the course of his career, and certainly this season it has been very impressive again. Let's take a look at our Toyota track map, Dorsey. This track is simply awesome.
Long downhill straightaway definitely will flex the muscles of the big engine cars, the Viper, the Corvette, some of those things. But, however, there's a lot of mix of turns, good turns here, too. You're going to see the Acura NSX, you're going to see the Porsche, so forth, really shine on that back part of the race course.
Handling so key here. Here is Scotty White. He'll be one of our onboards in that bet, that Bobby Archer. This should be fun from deeper in the pack than we'd expect. Then the other of the team Chevrolet Corvette C5s, Reese Cox in the number 98 entry. Then, of course, Pete Halsmer and that Honda America race team Acura NSX. We really expect to see something from Pete. And, of course, we'll be enjoying some shots from Derek Bell as well. And the field now starting to bunch up nicely. They've come through that keyhole and starting to get lined up, queued up, if you will, for the start here at MidOhio. Very good lineup, and Kitchak did a nice job there. He rolled into it and looked like he may have timed that well. There's the green. Oh, did he get a good jump on that start? And look at Shart has jumped up into second place. Halmer and Biskup, they're really duking it out. Look at Pete Halsmer, Doris, trying the outside.
He's probably got the best handling of any car out there with that NSX. He got pushed to the outside. Everybody went to the inside right away. Pete saw an opening, tried for it, and look what's happened. He gets him up to second place.
A great start, 4th to 2nd for Halsmer. Shart into 3rd, and Cooper just knocking door handle to door handle right there with Biskup. Then Archer were on board with Cox watching that fight. And watch this now as they head down out of the S's. And this, they get real light right there. And look at Biskup drift the car. There we're on board with Bobby Archer. And, of course, Derek Bell right in the middle of all the action in this start.
Car's still a bit slidey. Cars are still not warm enough. Got work cut out here today to talk as well.
Thanks, Derek. And, of course, Doris, he's buried in that pack a little bit and on a course and in a car that really hasn't been that well sorted.
And you heard him say that his tires are still too cold and the car's a bit slidey. But if you look at the front of the pack, look what's in the lead. A Porsche with the engine weight right over the rear wheels. Of course, on cold tires, it has a big advantage right now.
But will that, in the early laps for the Porsches, will that give them maybe a little bit more push than they'd like to have?
Well, it'll have some push, but you can deal with the push. You know, all you got to do is rotate the car and use the power. But right now, here in the long straightaway, now you're going to see who's got muscle for sure. Peter Halsmer's got a good handling car, but look behind him. Dave Shart with the turbo Toyota, big power, glass by, nothing Peter could do.
Yeah, Peter, but let's see if he tries to get him back under braking down into the S's. He's thinking about it. Shart covers, and no, it didn't happen that time, but there's Cooper right behind Halsmer, Archer right there, and Biskup. So they are running very close indeed. and there's a lot of compromise on this track.
Well, I tell you what, for Pete Halsmer right there, he's in a bad situation. He needs to be real fast in this part of the racetrack, but he can't be real fast because he's blocked by Chart in front. He's going to fall victim to big power in the straightaway.
Let's check in with John Bisignano.
George Biskup had a problem after practice this morning. They had to change the left front caliper on the car. Where'd they get the part? From his street Porsche Turbo. They took the right front corner off the car, all the braking, the disc, everything, and put it on the race car. He may feel a little bit unsettled in the car. That may be some braking problems due to this change in parts. He's just not happy with the car right now, guys.
Thanks, John. Dorsey, that brings up a good point. When you take a stock component off the car in the parking lot, put it on a race car, what does that do to your psyche?
Well, luckily for George, Porsche on the street car has some of the most awesome brakes of any car manufacturer in the world. And taking that street component and putting it on the race car really isn't much of a compromise whatsoever.
Well, Kitchak drawing away, but then the battle for second, and comprising right there 5 cars, right back to Biskup in that green and white Porsche. Archer just in front of him, then Cooper, and then Halsmer.
Yeah, now watch what happens. Halsmer can't get a big run going, and all the V8 horsepower behind him is going to come thundering by, I do believe. Looks like Halsmer's protecting the inside a little bit, but it won't make any difference. Look at the power of the Corvette.
Boy, that Les Stanford Corvette just trying him on the outside, but now it's the brakes on the Acura, and he stayed. Oh, Cooper runs a little bit wide. There goes Archer, and Biskup's even going to try him.
Halsmer sucked him into the brake zone pretty deeply there. The Corvette couldn't stop as well, and he couldn't defend. Because of that, right behind him, Archer sticks the Viper into second place, or not second place, but he sticks it into that position, and now they chase Halsmer. Halsmer needs to open up a big gap here between now and the straightaway. Otherwise, that Viper is going to bite him.
Actually, it's very impressive, the job that Bobby Archer is doing in that much heavier Viper and staying with that Acura. Even pops out, the Viper Speed Viper pops out, Archer takes a look, no. Halsmer covers him, but boy, Bobby Archer is giving that Viper a ride.
Well, obviously his shock absorber is better now because that's the handling end of the racetrack right there, and he's getting the job done pretty well.
Boy, that was a great report about that shock, and obviously that really highlights the fact that, oops, problem for number 98, Reese Cox in the MTI Motorsports Corvette, one of those new C5s, and they are right in the middle of a testing program, Dorsey. Let's watch what happened here. Dives down, that's through the kink on that back straight, and everything seems pretty good right now.
Not now, it doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
He just lost a motor or something. I heard it go dead on him right there. Sounds like that one's over with.
Yep, and you can see he's in trouble right now. He's trying to move off the racing line, and he's in trouble.
Something simple, just stop running. Something simple.
Not so simple to get it going again. You see him flailing on those switches, trying anything. We're early on here at MidOhio. Kitchak leads. Welcome back to MidOhio, and there's that great battle, but it's for second. Kitchak just controlling this one from the front in the Porsche. And Dorsey, Cooper's problem when he ran wide in those S's has really hurt him because he's back in the pack, and it's just tough going trying to get by these cars.
Yeah, it hurt him, but it's not going to hurt as bad. It's going to hurt Pete Halsmer. Look right now, the Viper all over him. Already makes the move to the inside. That's going to leave an opening for Cooper to go with it if he can get up in the draft, and here he comes. And he's looking to the inside of boy, I don't even want to say it. I don't think that'll work.
Oh, look at that, on board with Archer, and Halsmer fought him off around the outside again. And as you said, that was all the handling of the NSX.
Well, it was the braking of the NSX for sure. I mean, he went in there, and I thought for sure he was going to get passed by both cars. And, of course, when Cooper went 3 wide, it just complicates the whole thing for everybody. Halsmer hung's tough, but, boy, I tell you, every lap down that straightaway, he is in big trouble.
And all that battling and that defending, look what it allowed Chart to do. Chart now has almost 10 car lengths clear. And look at Archer. This is not a spot you'd expect a Viper to go by an Acura NSX here, and he made it look easy.
Outside on turn 13 up the hill, that's a scary corner for one car. He made that thing really look easy. That was a really gutsy maneuver right there.
And so Archer, boy, that getting that shock repaired, getting him dialed in setup-wise, paying off huge in that Viper Speed Viper. So now he moves to third. Is that a little puff of smoke there, Doris, just before the turn into one?
Yeah, I think he just really was hard on the brake for a second, and you saw some brake smoke. Halsmer on the last 2 corners have run wide. He's been up on the curbing, come on the pit straight away, and again right there. I think we might have an understeer problem. That car's pushing out on him, and look right now, it's allowed Cooper up the inside. Boy, you don't want to touch here.
Whoa,
boy, that was
very close. Oh, and he's way up on that curve, and Cooper should just sail by him now.
Yeah, and maybe George, too, because that running up on the curb doesn't get power down very well. And this is where Pete is at his very, very weakest. Top speed is not one of his better fortes. And here comes Biskup up the inside.
Oh, what an attempt by Biskup. He had to try it. He had a good run going. Halsmer had already defended a little bit. And Biskup wisely early in the going decided that he should just be a little patient. Well, maybe not. He let the back end step out there.
Yeah, he wagged the tail. He pinched off the top of that corner trying to get an inside run down the hill on Halsmer. When he went to power, it just lit up the rear tires. A good save for him right there. But that's some dicey racing going. Look at that. NSX is even switching under braking a little bit right there.
He's really darty. As we take a look at our BMW field summary, he really is. The nose hunting around as he tries to get on the brakes, and he's now losing touch even more with Cooper, and Biskup really starting to apply some pressure. That Acura may not be totally healthy.
Well, and in the meantime, we've got a Mustang. That was Rick DiOrio. Of course, that car badly damaged last week. I don't think he's hit anything. I think he's pulled that car off. It looks like he's had a mechanical problem.
You can see the tracks there almost at the entrance of that turn. He just pulled off and parked it. Meanwhile, pretty serene up front for Peter Kitchak, the driver in the Keewatin Toad Hall Racing Porsche, one of the great vintage drivers who also, when he steps behind the wheel of a car in a Pro Series, has proven to be very effective. Pretty good lead. And with Shart now clearing the Viper of Archer, look at this. Biskup got the run down the inside.
Well, Halsmer's been weak. He's got the classic understeer on the entry, oversteer on the exit. So he's not happy. Oh, we got an errant Corvette out here. It's just kind of, I don't know where it came from. It didn't come from the racetrack, though. It came from out in the field.
Boy, interesting slide and save by Kelly Bradley in the number 02 entry, one of the Grand Sport Chevy machines. Take a look at the replay, George.
That's the top of madness. He's already off the racetrack. He's got too much power on. He's not going to hook across the racetrack. Luckily, nobody was coming when he did that maneuver right there, but the mistake was made on top of the hill, and then he just got a little over-exuberant on his re-entry.
When you go over the top of madness there, the car gets really light, and if you're not really on top of things, that back end will just disappear.
Yeah, he got out there in the grass and wanted to get back on the racetrack and resume the race and not lose much time, and he was a little bit too hasty on the throttle pedal, and that snapped him across the racetrack on the other side. Double penalty.
Watching Derek Bell battling it out with Paul Brown. One of the problems Derek said he's experiencing is that M3 Coupe does not have a wing or a big airfoil on the back. And he said he's just having a little problem getting the power planted. And he said there's plenty of it, though. 6 of 28 laps, and Kitchak now leads Shart and Archer. The battle continues between Derek Bell and Paul Brown in that Mustang. Brown thinks about it, and whoa, he's got a pin that's come loose on that hood, Dorsey, although it's back by the windshield where the cowl induction is. If you're going to lose a pin, that's the spot.
Yeah, that's a fiberglass hood. You can tell that. It's flopping around in the breeze there. He's got the pin off the back corner. Shouldn't bother anything at all. Probably letting the engine run a little cooler. But here we go down the straightaway. Derek Bell, like you said, says that the little BMW Coupe's got a lot of power, supercharger on it, holds off the Mustang down into the brake zone.
Doing a nice job as we look at our Porsche field summary. And but the problem is they were hoping on the back of that BMW, right? You can see it there, to just put a little bit of almost like a little trim tab up there of some sort, just to try and get a little bit more bite at the back. He said he's got tremendous oversteer, not only on the exit of turns with power, but going into them as well.
Well, it looks like that car would be a bit aerodynamic, unbalanced aerodynamically. The front end's pretty nice front end, and probably does okay, but that back end, of course, with that big, long bird cage, rear swooping compartment, doesn't help it out at all without a spoiler back.
You watched Archer come through the final turn out of the carousel onto the front straight, and he got a great run through there. Shart covered him, but Bobby Archer now looks like he wants to move around. He has caught Shart. He wants to get by and see if he's got anything for Kitchak. This is a very solid battle for second, and it looks as though Cooper's coming along as well. Makes you wonder if Shart's going, oh, Shart real loose right there, and to save that.
Still loose, up on the curb he goes. I'll tell you what, that Toyota's got a turbocharger, and it makes a lot of horsepower, and every time he touched the throttle, it just stepped out a little bit further, got up on the curb. Usually that's an even match going down the straightaway. It won't be this time, however, because the Toyota lost ground on the launch.
And Bobby Archer slots through comfortably and takes over second spot. Oh, Shart Gives him a little look. Oh, look at that. There's smoke, and that looks exhaust pipe related smoke, Doris.
That was definitely out of the left bank of the exhaust pipe, unless they're running both sides off one. I don't think they do. And it did it again right there. It looks like it's just overrun, though, on the diesel. Looks like it just gets real rich on the diesel and puffs out a lot of black smoke. Not so much gray like you would see with his oil.
We'll keep an eye on that. That is Archer now second, Chart, the yellow Toyota third, the multicolored vet of Cooper in fourth, and Biskup's green and white Porsche running in fifth. But once again, all that dicing between Archer and Chart, Dorsey, has allowed Kitchak to draw away. And, boy, he continues to pad the margin. There's a good look at Dave Chart, and he's brought that Hikari Racing, Toyota Racing Developments, Toyota Supra up from the showroom stock ranks, and they have done an awesome job of developing that car to the highly modified World Challenge specs.
Yeah, I just saw that right then again, the V10 puffing out a lot of black smoke on the D-cell. Now, sometimes engine builders use fuel in the thing to cool the engine off some more. And I say it doesn't affect anything, but it does affect one thing. If you're behind him when he does that, those gases get in your eyes, and your eyes burn really badly. And look, George Biskup on the inside of Cooper, and that's in the keyhole. Whew, he made that look easy.
Boy, he did. He just moved over. And you talked earlier about the great brakes on the Porsches, and when you're that close, that Porsche is going to have a huge advantage over about any kind of car in the braking zone, and Biskup used it. You mentioned fuel in the Viper. We should mention that the problem for Reese Cox apparently was something fuel related in the fuel system of the car, and that's why he's out. So we wanted to update you on that. Meanwhile, there it is again. Big puff of smoke from Archer's Viper. That's got to be nice. Chart's got to be loving that.
But George Biskup, to me, it looks to me like George Biskup in the Porsche is getting stronger. Maybe as he burns fuel, that car's getting happier.
All right, you see the chase is on of Derek Bell. He's been busy.
Slow it down on the inside. Scotty's all over the back of me. Probably not too much over the back.
So you can see he's very busy inside that car. He's trying to chat for us, but when you're in a battle like this, Paul Brown got by him. He wants to keep Scotty White behind him.
Well, he took a deep breath right as he went over the top of Madness right there. That's I can relate to that. He's getting a breath of wind there. You get like a negative G factor when you go over that hill there, and you're holding your breath to keep it. You're hoping the whole car stays on the racetrack and doesn't jump out in the field there.
Especially when you got your mirrors full as well as right in front of you. There's the margin. Kitchak, then a long gap back to Archer, no gap to Chart. And now I would suspect now that Biskup got around Cooper, he should be closing in on this battle for second because they continue to fight.
Yeah, that, and like I say, I've been watching the handling on George's car, and it certainly looks to me like the car is becoming pretty neutral for him right now. He's been getting off these corners really well, and he is closing up on our leaders just a bit.
Archer continuing to hang on, though, and even on the straight here, draws away just a little bit. There's the battle behind for fourth spot. Back on board with Scotty White. Oh, look at this move.
Scotty's trying to get around outside of me. But,
boy, you can hear him breathing hard, Doris.
Well, he had to quit talking in the middle of the keyhole there because he was out of breath. He said Scotty was on the outside of him. He actually pointed a finger out there to give him a point by to say, go that way if you're going to go.
So he's in it again, and Scotty White continues to apply the pressure. He's defending down to the inside.
you have to get third gear at the end of that straight. I don't know why. Just want to go down to third, or any gear for that matter, at the end of the straight.
Boy, on top of a huge battle, you're in a car that's not handling great, and now you've got gear selector problems.
Well, that's not a big problem for Derek Bell. Of course, every corner here is third gear, so it's a little bit of a problem. It really is. I don't know why it's not doing it all the way around the racetrack and it's doing it at the end of the straight, but he's having a hard time getting it downshifted in the third, and all those corners are third gear.
Boy, you got to find the gear a little bit further back in the pack. One of the Zippo Mustangs and the number 08 Porsche, I believe, having a very strong battle. This is one of the great things about Speedvision GT championship racing. The battles throughout the pack are intense, and that is what you always find here at MidOhio. We'll be back with more right after this. Back at MidOhio for the Speedvision GT championship. And here's the battle that we have been watching, and it's changed just a little bit. Archer's drawing away. Chart now is in a battle for third. And here comes Biskup. Oh, Doris, he came from miles back.
Yeah, but that was a little bit optimistic. I didn't think that was going to stick. That was way too far back. Oh, boy, they're running close right there. You don't want to bump there. Trying really hard right now. George Biskup really trying to get by Dave Shart. But he's not quite long side enough to make that stick.
Hear a little bit of tire squeal. That gives you an idea of just how hard they're working. And they're coming through some lap traffic. Nice job by that entry. I think that was number 48, who's Mike Giglio, doing a nice job of making sure everybody could slide through nice and neat. Indeed it was. And that allows Shart, Biskup, and Cooper. And look at that. I mean, just 2 corners ago, Biskup was all over the back of Show! Wow! Huge slide.
Big save there. Oh, man, George Biskup with the slide for life. I've been off there before. You usually don't get back. There's a gravel trap about a foot from where he just got back under control. Lucky guy.
Unbelievable save by George Biskup.
I'm at madness. I'm in between 7, 8, and 9. I think we can put some fluid back in it and get going again.
Put some fluid back in it. What would you put fluid back in, George?
Well, with that smoke, it's some kind of fluid leak for sure. It can only be one of 2 things, either brakes or power steering.
Well, let's go back, take a look at what happened here.
Oh, boy, that was at the top of the hill, and that's the fluid on his tires. Whatever let loose, a line or something, he's in his own oil right now, knows it, and is going to pull off the racetrack of his own doing. Must be power steering, because he's got brakes. As you can see, he wouldn't drive through that wall with no brakes.
Let's go back on board and watch what happens here. Right up here, top of the S's, you can see that's not responding how you want it to or quickly at all, is it?
No.
That's power steering of it.
Well, it could be power steering. It's also, it's definitely an oil leak that's made him get loose.
So he pulls off track, stops and chats with the crew. We're looking now at George Biskup, who continues a strong run, but Dorsey, boy, did he have his moment just a moment ago.
Yeah, this was really too close. This is uphill in 13. Right there, he saved his whole day. If he'd hit that gravel trap, that would have been all over.
Well, Calvin, you say that George Biskup's weekend hasn't exactly been easy either.
George Biskup is running a setup he's never seen before on the race car today. After his minor accident in qualifying, he actually got together with one of the GT3 teams, the Porsche teams running here this weekend, and he changed the setup completely. They felt it would be a better setup for the event today. But as you can see in the early going, George is struggling to get on turns with the new handling of the race car.
Well, that's interesting. As we look at the BMW field rundown, Doris, that means that he, in theory, should be able to get quicker and quicker as he gets more used to that setup.
Well, that last time when he almost went off into the gravel trap there, I saw on the next lap through there that he was in the middle of the road, like the car didn't turn in very well for him.
Well, it's interesting. I once read Gilles Villeneuve once said the quickest way to find the limit in a car when you don't have a lot of time is to quickly exceed it. Biskup knows now what the limit is, at least in that section of track.
Well, I don't know if you should exceed the limit to find it, but most certainly George has been awfully close to it in that last corner anyway.
Peter Kitchak having a superb run in this black number 3 Keewatin Toad Hall Porsche. Oh, now that's a vet that slipped off.
Top of the hill again. That could be due to the oil from the last vet. That's exactly where his oil dumped, so that could be pretty slippery up there.
Number 67, Peter Poley out of Mendon, Vermont, and the Poley Brother Cutlery vet having a moment. Obviously got away with it, didn't get into anything.
Lucky there. Usually you fall off that hill and the grass gets you and you're down into the guardrail, but I think he got in the oil and had the spin complete before he got to the grass.
Peter Kitchak a couple years ago in the Minneapolis street race in the Speedvision GT Championship had a huge win there as well. Whenever he gets a track that is well suited to the Porsche power and handling, this guy really comes on form.
Well, watch that car. He's not sliding at all. You can see him. He makes all his apexes very cleanly and neatly. Gets off the corner, no wagging of the tail. That car's working really well for him today.
Looking very strong indeed. I mean, there's the margin right there back to Archer running second, then Shart and Cooper. But boy, it gives you a good indication of just how far clear Kitchak is of the rest of this field right now. So the battle really is for second, although Archer would like to make that for third as he tries to clear Shart in the yellow Toyota, and Cooper right behind Shart. Good battle for third, Doris.
Well, all these guys would like to have a caution that wasn't related to something that they did right now, so they could catch up Kitchak, so they're having a heck of a good run between themselves.
And look at Cooper right there. He moves well over to the inside. He's really not close enough at Shart to take a run. And we saw him do that at Lime Rock, where he'd move offline, get a little air into the radiators, And, you know, they still don't have their new C5 Corvette. They're running an older car with an older engine in it, and I wonder if they're still a little concerned with temps.
Well, he's just trying to get points in this older engine car, like you say. That could be partially temps, but he's not that far up underneath the back of Dave Shart's Toyota, so I don't know why he's doing that. He just might like to be different. Who knows?
Well, you know, we watched a number of cars now that I think about it that have run wide onto the straight out of the keyhole. Maybe there's some debris that's built up there, and he thinks he can get a little bit better bite by moving over.
Well, usually you can't, though. Normally the outside's got the most grip where all the rubber is, but we saw him doing that, of course, at Lime Rock. I talked to Cooper about it, and Coop said, hey, it's too bumpy. I'm old. I don't want to mess with that. I want the smooth road.
Well, the Cooper is savvy, that's for sure, as well as quick, and that traffic has helped him a bunch. Shart got caught up. It also helped. Oh, look at this. Shart left it open, locked it up.
Oh, boy, did he leave it open. You're not kidding. That was a wide open door. He just drove that Corvette right in there.
There's no way that Bill Cooper isn't going to jump on a gift like that, and we have a new third place. Bill Cooper it is. Welcome back to Mid-Ohio and Dorsey as we take a look at what's going on. Once Cooper cleared Shart, he has quickly run down Bobby Archer.
Yeah, he caught up pretty quick. He's not quite quick enough to make a pass yet, but he certainly closed the gap by quite a considerable distance.
Obviously, Shart holding Coop up just a little bit. Archer now through the keyhole at V10 in that Viper Speed machine. Full song down that straight. Go back a little bit further in the pack, or actually up forward in the pack, as that's the margin. Boy, that's how much of a lead Kitchak has opened up, and he just set the fastest race lap as well. So Peter Kitchak is simply set sail.
He's out there all by himself, and that's one of the bad things when you're all by yourself and you're way out in the lead like that, is that we tend to forget about him because he's a half a lap ahead of the second place car.
So he decided to remind us by putting up fastest lap of the race, having that pop up on the monitors. So Peter Kitchak, Ekiwat Toad Hall Porsche, seems absolutely suited to what's going on out here today. And certainly he is doing an awesome job of hustling that car around through the carousel, onto the front straight. A little bit of tape flapping at the back. Shouldn't be anything to worry about.
I'm pretty impressed with the handling on that car. He just gets it into the corner completely under control. You see no wiggling. Gets it to the apex where he wants to go, gets on the power, and drives around like it was easy. I'm telling you for sure, it is not that easy around Mid-Ohio.
This has to be very sweet for him as well. As you can see the margin, there's now Archer, and there goes Coop again with that line.
Yeah, I don't know why he does that. He just makes me think something's going on every time he does that. But he's closed up even more distance now. He's on the back of Archer's Viper. The Corvette might have a run up the straightaway this time.
Now let's see. And, well, he's thinking about it. Moves over. Boy, just sort of wiggling around, darting, and not this time once again.
You might be right. It might be running hot. We haven't heard any indication, but he sure seems to be running out from underneath the Viper every chance. Uh-oh! Here it goes.
Let go.
Look at that, right out the exhaust pipe. That is not what you want to see. That is a blown motor.
Boy, and comprehensive at that. And we've been talking about the fact that they're waiting for the new vet to get here, and they continue to try and make do with some older equipment. And, boy, it let go in a huge fashion, and right when you're hardest on the throttle, too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's your number 9 blow-up, a 10 being when you spin out in your own oil and catch fire, but that's a 9 for sure. That blew out all the guts of the engine right out the tailpipe.
Well, again, oh, look at that. It's dumping a lot of stuff onto the track. That's a motor that they had to replace the motor before the race anyway with no time on it. And let's watch this, Doris. Just full throttle, say bye.
Yeah, it just blew big time. And that what you saw coming out was, in fact, steam from the radiator. So this has been running hot for quite a while, I guess. And that's why he was driving those weird lines. That's a completely blown up car there.
Now you can see it from a little different angle here, and it has just comprehensively let go. And, of course, this is such a tough moment for the crew, and Calvin Fish has caught up with the crew chief for this Les Stanford Corvette team. Calvin?
Keith, you had your fingers crossed throughout this event that backup engine would make the whole race, but a little bit shy today.
Yeah, she's pretty hot. I don't know exactly what happened. He just said it let go. So just leave it at that. Les Stanford Chevrolet Corvette did a wonderful job anyways. The crew is awesome. Pirate Racing, Jim Van Dorn. We gave it a good shot. We worked real hard. The motor went bad right away. We didn't have no practice. Went unqualified, put it on the front row, and I can't say enough about these guys and our driver. And we'll be back in Atlanta.
With all the fluid down on the track, we're yellow, and let's check in now with our Legends driver, Derek Bell. Derek?
So we've got a full course yellow, which gives us a breather. Hopefully it gives my gearbox a breather. You really need a racing gearbox. This is just the standard gearbox. And as I said, I'm just using 3rd and 4th gear. Anyway, it's a good time to go for a commercial break. See you later.
Welcome back to the Speedvision GT Championship here in Mid-Ohio. We remain under yellow for all the fluid that came out of Bill Cooper's engine. And this seems like an opportune time. Let's take a look at our Sears Die Hard race reset. Of course, Pete Kitchak has been our lone leader, and he has led in dominant form, including that fast race lap, as you see. 7 cars out at this point, and the pace car is in. And Doris, the restarts do happen here on the front straight. And with the yellow, of course, the whole complexion of this one's changed.
Well, Kitchak didn't need that yellow, that's for sure. Who did need it, though, was Archer, who now looks at the back of the Porsche for the first time in this half of the race. Now, whether he can get by or not, I don't know. There's not many laps to go.
Not a lot of laps, and Kitchak has been so strong. Here's Bell. He's worked his way by right now. That's the Tri-Delta Industries BMW of Walt Swick. And in front of him still is Paul Brown. He's got to be tired of that view. Paul passed him early, and he just has not been able to find a way back around. There are those cars as they close up on some of the other folks in the pack. Some good racing back there a little bit. Again, Bell talked about the problems with his stock gearbox and also developing that car sort of on the rug. But look at Archer now. He is keeping the pressure on Kitchak. Even takes a look down into the S's.
Pretty evenly matched on the high end there. I was surprised at that. Kitchak's Porsche, very, very good. This is where it should be strongest, right? Oh, boy, he uses all the road right there. Almost got off into the grass.
Well, with that long yellow, we talked about all the weight of those Porsches back over the rear wheels. I wonder if he hasn't picked up a little push here.
Well, he could have an imbalance for sure because of that. It won't be for very long. Right now, though, the Archer car really hunting him down. I would have thought maybe the Viper would be faster in the straightaway, but disappointingly, it looked just on the equal, but definitely not better.
Well, of course, I would surmise that the yellow is going to help out Archer as well. The weight of that Viper hard on tires and brakes allows him to cool that down, gives him maybe a little more life.
What turns this whole race, the complexion around, it's now a sprint race. Handful of laps, you give it all you got right now.
Onto the front straight. Boy, Kitchak using all the track.
That's what I was talking about. Give it all you got. You don't leave any cards laying on the table. He's now running it from the grass to the grass, using all the racetrack, trying to get away from the Viper.
There goes Shart in 3rd. There's Biskup in 4th. There's Halsmer and the rest of the pack cycling through. And look at this battle. 1, 2, and here's a look. The Zippo Mustang. Boy, made that look easy in turn 1. You got to get that pass done early. Back on board with Bell. Real squirrely.
Oh, boy, he touched the curb. There's a curb there and pit out. He got the left run up on it, and it sucked him right up on top of the curb. Good save, though.
Boy, look at the just the congestion here. It's like a freeway in rush hour. And they continue to hammer through. Boy, that Zippo Mustang made that pass, and onto that front straight now should be strong.
Look at Derek on the outside. Speaking of the outside, it's Kitchak defending there at the end of the long straightaway.
Great battle at the front, great battle back in the pack. Crowd having a great time watching this. Boy, Kitchak now he looks a lot twitchier than he did before that yellow.
Well, he's using a lot of car right there for sure, trying to defend. Look at our Derek Bell. He's in the middle of a fight of his own. He's going to go up the inside here, I think. Oh, boy, he shuts the door.
Oh, look at how close they are there and all that traffic. Brown going to try and sneak down inside this BMW, and, well, they're still at it here. Brown now has the right line. He'll be able to move through, and Bell has to tuck in. That's Swick again, and Bell, nice move by Derek.
Excellent move by Derek right there. That's a hard pass to make, you see, because pinched off there, he got loose. He's waving back there to the other guy right now.
Sorry about that, Walter.
Oh, did you hear that? He gave him we saw the wave, and then he apologized for sort of wedging his way through.
Yells back, sorry about that, Walter. Of course, Walter can't hear him, and he's not thinking he's saying sorry, probably.
Of course, that green and white machine there, that Porsche, that's Danny Marshall, and he's right in the mix here. Here comes Brown, and Brown going to try him.
Well, he made a good run up the inside of turn 1. That's going to make a pass for sure. Got that done cleanly well before the turn-in part, but that gives our Derek Bell a run now. He's going to have a run up the outside.
Pops over. This will give him the outside into the keyhole. See how Marshall does under braking, and Bell, well, made it look fairly easy. So Bell has advanced another spot as well. Here comes Biskup back in the battle for 3rd, and Biskup, boy, did he get squeezed and just decided no worries. Took the braking right down to the inside edge of the track. But even with that vigorous defense, Shart slips to 4th as Biskup takes those Porsche brakes right to the edge and moves up into 3rd. So there's a look at our Porsche field summary. Only 2 to go. 2 laps remaining here at the Speedvision GT Championships 3rd round at MidOhio. And if you're a Viper fan, by the way, the infield here at MidOhio is where you want to be. A great selection of cars from the Viper Club. The Coupes, the Cabriolets are here to watch Bobby Archer's Viper Speed Viper, and he's doing them proud. A very strong run to 2nd place, but a little bit deeper in the pack. That battle wages as that's the number 77 Zippo Ford Mustang of John Kohler, the Ford Mustang of Brown and Derek Bell, and they are absolutely continuing a hammer and tong battle here that has been intense. Let's go down and listen in with Derek. This has to be fun.
No car sliding too much now.
Well, maybe it's not fun. He's talking about now it's gone slippery on him.
We saw him get loose right there in the keyhole. That's not where you want to get you loose. He had a whole arm full of opposite lock there. Talking about his rear tires going off. When we said earlier, oh, speaking of going off, there's the 81.
That's Jerry Post, Doris.
Yeah, he's off, and he missed the gravel trap. He's going around the backside of the gravel trap so he can get back on the racetrack.
We also saw Paul Brown put a move on and get around Kohler in that Zippo Mustang, so their battle strong. But Kitchak has once again started to open the gap up a little bit.
That car's been remarkable all day. Look at it come off that corner. Doesn't wag the tail, no movement. That's the white flag. He gets 1 lap to go. Big gap back to Archer.
Archer in 2nd, and there's Biskup in 3rd, and Archer's got a little bit of a margin. At this point, Doris, you're on the last lap. There's a pretty good margin that's built up. Is Bobby maybe reining it back a little bit? He's been blowing some smoke and the like. He's got 2 wins to start the season. A 2nd place is going to be awesome in points.
No, he won't hold back. He'll run a good, hard, clean lap, but he'll be talking to himself all the way around it, saying, don't make any mistake. He knows that Biskup can't catch him if he doesn't make a mistake. In fact, the top 5, all pretty safe from anything going on, pending anyone making a mistake. So you talk your way through the last lap the whole way. You look way out the windshield, make sure there's no lap cars that are going to try to hold you up.
I was going to say a little earlier, too, Peter Kitchak, this has to be very sweet for him, assuming he does hold on for the win, because he's had a tough couple opening rounds to this, including motor problems and having the car on its roof, actually. This has to be very sweet indeed. And Pete Alsmer, that yellow, a bit of rejuvenation for him as he's trying to close it up just a little bit and give Sharp something to think about here.
Well, you know, there's not much time to go when you're talking about a half a lap here, and you're talking probably a few second gap between each car. I can't believe Peter Kitchak, look at this car. Not even a slide where the car slides normally. He's on a rail.
Well, he had that one moment at the top of the S's after the yellow, and then everything seemed to calm down. And he has been just absolutely precise, as you put it. And he is now through the carousel one last time. And Peter Kitchak looks pretty good to sew up his first win of the season here. There's that little left-hander onto the front straight. And Dorsey, this was an absolutely perfect race for him, really.
Yeah, he drove a perfect race for sure. It looks like there's no pressure, but there's always pressure. Here comes Archer across, and right behind him, Biskup again. That's 2nd, 3rd.
Great runs for them, and here is that battle. And Shard obviously easing off in the last couple corners a little bit. Knew he had it for 4th, and that was Halsmer in 5th. But Peter Kitchak, you saw how happy the crew was. They went through a lot those first 2 races to keep the car running. And look at that, some good sportsmanship. Archer pulls up alongside and says, I had nothing for you on this day.
No, nobody had anything for him. That was an awesome performance for Kitchak. And here's our man, Derek Bell, coming across the line.
Well, he took a run at Paul Brown, but just fell a little short. So a great race throughout the pack, and we'll be back in just a minute to talk with our winners. Peter Kitchak has got to be enjoying this one.
Peter Kitchak, you put on quite a clinic out there today, pulling away from the competition. It seemed to ease at times.
Well, there's hardly a track in the country that's better for Porsches than this one is. And after the last couple of weeks that we've had, I don't get any of the credit. The guys on the crew that went round the clock since Lime Rock to get the car ready, the guys that loaned us the motor to run this race with, I mean, they're the guys that really deserve the hand.
Boy, and a well-earned hand indeed. There's a look at the results. Kitchak, Archer, very strong. Biskup, Shard, Halsmer, down through the rest of the pack. There was Smith and Kohler, the 2 Zippos, the Mustangs, then Zwick, Marshall, and the rest of the field. And again, kudos to Mike Giglio. He was not running as well as he normally does, and he stayed clear. Biz is with our points leader and 2nd place finisher. John?
Bobby Archer, 2 wins in a 2nd. Not a bad way to start the season.
Well, you know, for this whole Viper Speed crew, I'm really proud to be part of it. And, you know, today we just didn't have enough for that black Porsche. He had us covered, and, you know, fortunately, it looked like everybody else had a little bit of problem, which we just drove our normal, consistent race, and we ended up 2nd.
What about your problems? You had some smoke coming out from underneath the car, rear tires got a little hot?
Yeah, I was trying really hard to stay ahead of these guys behind me, and I ran the car really hard, and We just didn't have the magic tires that we had the last 2 races. But I saved those. We might have them in Atlanta.
Well, let's take a quick look at the points. As I said, Archer up by 12 over Biscup and Chartdorf. Strong run.
Very strong right there, but look at the manufacturers battle. Dodge leads 25 over 20, Porsche second, Chevrolet, Toyota, and Acura. It's still early in the season.
And there's also a bit of a gap in the schedule, so the next time you'll have coverage of the Speedvision GT Championship will be Saturday, August 7th from Road Atlanta. And Dorsey, that's a pretty substantial gap up to that race. Probably good for Bill Cooper's team.
Well, it's good for a lot of teams. We already heard at the beginning of the show, these guys are putting on one whale of a show already, and a lot of guys are waiting for a brand new race car to be built.
This gives them an opportunity not only to finish the build, but to get those cars sorted a little bit. The next time we're back with coverage of this championship, it should be exciting. For Dorsey Schrader, Calvin Fish, and John Bizignano, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks so much once again for joining us here at Speedvision for coverage of the Speedvision GT Championship. See you next time.